All right, folks. So while we're on the subject of Donald J. Trump, the president of the United States, well, I guess he's no longer the president because he lost. So failed two-time loser, failed presidential candidate Donald J. Trump, failed insurrectionist, failed casino magnate is at it again, folks. And this is one thing apparently he did not fail at, and that was violating the Constitution of the United States of America.
Unbelievable.
So Donald Trump made $1.6 billion while president, report says. This is from The Independent. Close that shit. Donald Trump made as much as $1.6 billion during his 4 years as president, according to a report by Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, CREW. Having reviewed the former president's financial disclosures, the group claims that while Mr. Trump took credit for donating his official salary funded by U.S. taxpayers, that was a tiny fraction of the revenue earned through Trump businesses during his presidency. Now, again, I want to remind everyone, this is on the Democrats, too. The Democrats had the House in 2019 and 2020. Did they impeach him over emoluments? Nah. Did they impeach him for violating the Constitution? Right? Nah. They impeached him for, as he said, a perfect phone call. Something that they themselves are also not responsible for. And that's my problem. They had so much, what they should have done is, as Rashida Tlaib said, during, I believe, her victory party, they should have impeached the motherfucker on day one. This guy violated the emoluments clause well before the Democrats took the House. He should have been impeached on day one. But Nancy Pelosi, the worst leader I've ever seen in the Democratic Party. I'm only 24, so keep that in mind. But she is garbage. She decided to put it off. Yeah, just keep putting it off. And then, when you finally impeach the motherfucker, it's over a phone call. Now again, the phone call was illegal. It was unconstitutional. Don't get me wrong. But again, the idea that you're not going to impeach him for aiding and abetting of the genocide in Yemen, or having people pay him millions and millions of dollars to stay at his hotels to get favors in the terms of foreign policy, the idea that that's not impeachable but a phone call is, I'm sorry. But that, everybody.
Unbelievable.
So, CREW calculates that even after seeing a major drop-off in hospitality-related revenue in 2020 during the pandemic, in total, Mr. Trump disclosed at least $1,613,583,013 in revenue from the Trump Organization and other outside income. At the high end, he disclosed $1,790,614,202, but the disclosure forms are vague, with some assets listed as, quote, over $5 million in yearly income. The structure of Trump Organization businesses means that reported revenue does not necessarily reflect his personal income from them. A large portion of the revenue came from the more famous properties owned by the group at which Mr. Trump was often seen during his presidency: Mar-a-Lago, the Trump International Hotel in Washington, D.C., and his golf courses at Doral in Florida, Bedminster in New Jersey, and Trump National in Virginia. Combined, they reportedly brought in more than $620 million in 4 years, with revenue dropping off significantly once the lockdown restrictions depressed travel and tourism. CREW argues that much of this income came from those wishing to curry favor with the president paying a premium to stay at properties branded in his name. They also say the government business was directed their way and question what the future holds now that the revenue stream has disappeared. This report by CREW comes as the Supreme Court handed down a decision that will force Mr. Trump to hand over his tax returns to prosecutors in New York. So, what the fuck? Again, they didn't impeach him for this. Now again, the Capitol riot, perfect. Up until they decided to go full beta and not call witnesses after they won the vote to do so. But the first impeachment should have been over emoluments. It should have been over the genocide in Yemen. It shouldn't have been over a phone call. They should have impeached him over a phone call. Absolutely. If he violates the law, get impeached. That should be the transaction. If you violate the Constitution, you get impeached. Plain and simple. That's how the Constitution should work. So yes, he should have been impeached for emoluments. He should have been impeached for aiding and abetting a genocide. He should have been impeached for a lot of other things, including the phone call with Ukraine. Right? And, again, what a missed opportunity. And as Rashida Tlaib said in 2018, what they should have done was to impeach the motherfucker. Plain and fucking simple. But they chose not to. They can't impeach him for things the Dems do too. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, they should have impeached him over the fucking, this shit.
Early in the morning, they went to the table with the black robe, the black shield, and they pulled out the votes.
They should have impeached him over lying about the election. But they didn't. Did they even investigate him or hold hearings? I don't think so. I should get the Rashida Tlaib impeach the motherfucker sound drop. Does anyone want to send that to me on Twitter? Should have been impeached for the Muslim ban. Agreed? The black robe and the black the shield.
In my opinion, it's never too late. So, little double sound deck. So that's the story, fellas.
He should have been impeached for this too.
And then they have cans of soup.
That's an impeachable statement. That whole fucking soup thing, that should have been an impeachable offense as far as I'm concerned. I also think he should have been impeached for those, remember during the summer when he posted those FBI photos, like the wanted posters on his Twitter? He should have been impeached for that too. Just doxing private citizens on Twitter. I would say impeach the motherfucker for that too.